On today's video, let's talk about Eve of the Crusade for Light and Darkness. There are a couple of changes to the Eve of the Crusade setup, as well as some very good news for you guys. This video is going to cover what is Eve of the Crusade for those of you who don't know what it is yet, as well as talk about the changes that came into Light and Darkness. I also have a very big change in my opinion when it comes to Marauder hunting and spending AP with the new changes that came into the game. We're going to discuss that as well. And of course, everything you need to know before you walk into your Light and Darkness or whichever Lost Kingdom you're starting up, so you can get the best bang out of your buck, get the best possible buffs for your kingdom, and have a great experience while doing so. So sit back, drop a like on the video, and go. Hey there YouTube, welcome back to Gekko Gaming. Eve of the Crusade Stage 2 is upon the first stage of Light and Darkness. We're gonna digress a little bit, we're gonna go back to the beginning and discuss a little bit first what Eve of the Crusade is. Eve of the Crusade is a 9-day long event in which you have 3 stages of 3 days, and at the end of all this, Lost Kingdom begins. It's the pre-event for Lost Kingdom. Now, the way this works is that the 8 kingdoms competing in the Lost Kingdom are going to go head to head. Whichever one gets the most points will get the most buffs. Each kingdom can and will end up with a buff increase. The question is which one you get, and we'll see that in a second. The event is divided into 3 stages, each 3 days long. Stage 1 is hunting Marauders. Marauders being these extra strong barbarians which drop satchels. Each satchel will contain a parchment, like a piece of cloth, and I believe you need 7 or 8 different ones to combine them into a chest. That chest will give your alliance, your kingdom, points, and will give you this chest to open up for some very good rewards. Stage 2 is all about training troops, as you can see right there. The more troops you train, the more points you gain. And stage 3 is Marauder camps. Essentially, kind of like barbarian forts, but camps. Same thing, rally them, get points, easy peasy. Now, the kingdoms that end up at the top, as well as the individuals that end up on the top, will get some very good rewards. As you can see right here, you can see all the different buffs based on your ranking, and it is a participation reward, so even an 8th rank gets a little bit of a buff. But there's also individual rewards, which if you grind and want to get your points, you can end up with a nice 60 legendary commander sculptures, and we can clearly see folks of 283 really pushing hard for this, as well as 283 and 279 in this Lost Kingdom going toe to toe. Now, the way this event works is it requires you to spend AP for Marauders, or potentially not. Spend your troop speed ups, whatever it is, to train, and again AP to rally the forts. The way the pointing system works is that you more than likely will get more points by training troops, specifically tier 5s, than any of stage 1 and 2 really. I have never seen a kingdom that has won strictly on stage 1 and 3. Stage 2 is the chunk of points. As you can see, 700 million points don't come from hunting Marauders. But there is a huge change for stage 1, which now makes it a very good place for you to spend your AP. Even if you're older in the game, newer in the game, back in the day, Marauders were a little bit of a question mark. The reason they were a question mark is that it requires you to have one of each type of parchment to get one chest. What ended up happening is that as time went by, you'd end up having one parchment missing, and all the others had a ton of them that were useless. And so you would spend all this AP getting these, and at the end, I've seen people who ended up with over 1,000 pieces of cloth, parchments, whatever you want to call them, that were useless, and they went away. And so it was not the most recommended thing to hunt Marauders, because what ended up happening is a good third, if not more, of your AP would go to waste on parchments that were never used. As of Lost Kingdom Light and Darkness, you are now able to exchange parchments with your alliance mates. This now makes things a little more interesting because now you will most likely end up with less leftovers, which means you're going to get more rewards and essentially get more rewards for the same AP you've been using. And for the first time, I can say that if you are not planning on going for the KVK skin, which means you don't need all the AP you can have, and you have a good amount of AP you're looking to burn to get extra rewards, I definitely can say now that Marauders is probably the best way for you to spend your AP. Why is that? First and foremost, hunting barbarians. The reason people hunt barbarians is not only for the XP and drops, but for many different events. But the bottom line is when you hunt them, you get XP and you get items. For Marauders, it's the same story. So on top of getting the satchels with the extra rewards, you're also getting the same rewards you used to get before. On top of that, now the good stuff, which is the parchments, can be exchanged, and therefore you'll be able to get more chests, meaning more points for your kingdom, more points for you as an individual, and of course, more chests with more rewards. Those chests are actually really good. If you want to see some of them in action and see how stage 1 works, I'll leave a card up on the top for a previous video I did where I broke down that specific stage. But the bottom line is, if you have the AP, you don't see a use for it, and you're looking for somewhere to get really good value out of it, I definitely think Marauders is the place to be. Marauders require of you, however, to have a little bit of strength. This account right here is not exactly very stacked at all. And so this account cannot handle a Marauder. But anyone who is even a little bit more advanced than I am, especially not necessarily in power, but in the technology, where my technology on this farm account is fairly basic, some of you might be able to even have this amount of power and be stronger than I am by quite a substantial margin. So it does require of you to be able to hunt, and it requires time and effort to move around the map, just like hunting barbarians. The rewards are definitely worth it. With the parchments being replaced, and now you can exchange them, I definitely can say very comfortably that Marauders is probably the best way to spend your AP if you're looking for a good return. But you don't want to waste all your AP. AP is always good to have, especially if all of a sudden a Karak event shows up and you're screwed because you don't have AP. That's no good. If you want to blast on Marauders, by all means, but try to keep 10, 15,000 AP as backup in case you'll need it for something. If you're looking to get the KVK skin, don't waste your AP on Marauders. You're definitely going to need it during KVK. For the record, Marauders drop rates are fairly good, and if they're as good as Barbarians in Lost Kingdom, you can end up with crazy amounts of gems as well as speed ups and resources by pretty much doing the event. Stage 2 is more straightforward than anything else. You train your troops, you speed up troops, you get kingdom buff, you get Duke, resources, and blast. The more you blast, the better you help your alliance. Is it recommended? If you are someone like 279 or 283 who is really looking to win, everybody is going to have to help out. If you are, on the other hand, not someone who's looking to push too much, but you're okay with training a little bit of troops along the way, getting these individual rewards is not that bad. It's not worth it. I wouldn't say that if you don't have the means to get these troops trained that you should. And I'll say even further that this requires to earn points, which means you could, in theory, not have to train tier 5s. You can train tier 1s, which would be cheaper and speed ups and resources, and just do your thing. I haven't done the math to see whether it's really worth it or not. But the bottom line is, the individual rewards are okay to get. You'll get troops which you'll need in Lost Kingdom anyway. Stage 3 with the Marauder camps, it seems that as of last Lost Kingdom Season 2, they changed the Marauder camps so that they give more points. We've seen that the way camps do the best is by having as many people in a rally as possible. So for example, in JWM, when we rallied Marauder camps, we pretty much sent 50,000 troops each person and filled up the rally with as many people as possible, so that more points are acquired, either individual or alliance. but I'm not entirely sure whether it's worth blasting your AP on the Marauder camps. The best way to get points is by far training troops. The best way to get rewards is by far Marauders. And I believe that stage 3 is more of a thing. My opinion on it is it's something that you do. You have the daily AP. You get 3,600 AP-ish a day. So you should definitely be using them to hunt camps. But I wouldn't spend too much AP on that stage. The biggest change is, of course, that you can now exchange patchments, which is crucial because you don't end up with leftovers. Other than that, this event is pretty much the same. It's important to note that the 3% attack that you get from a kingdom at first place is fantastic, but it's not a deal breaker. We have seen ample of situations where the 3% ended up in zone 4. It's not a must, and therefore if you are not an alliance or a kingdom that is geared up to get into this fight, don't necessarily waste all you got to win 3% damage. It is important, but it's not tragic. If you are not fighting for first, second, or third, 5th place is definitely the place to be. 3% training speed for the rest of KVK sounds amazing to me. And other than that, maybe, I guess, action point recovery, 5% if you're looking to hunt a lot of barbarians during KVK would be nice. But other than that, I wouldn't give Eve of the Crusade too much thought. These guys right here have a rivalry. Right up there. Those two at the top. Can I get there? No. Those two at the top have a rivalry. Those two from the beginning said we're going to go ham on each other. And I know this because I'm covering this Lost Kingdom and in touch with both sides of the fight. And so I know that they want to go head to head, which is how this is looking like this. You can clearly see that there's still competition, fairly decent competition between the rest. The two bottom ones did not even care. That's not a bad thing. It's not that they don't care. They have a lot of points, but they're not. There's a pretty big difference between 8th and 6th. And other than that, I think that spending your AP on Marauders is really, 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 really good if you want to. If you have the AP and you don't know what to do with it, I would probably go as far as saying it's the best place to spend AP potions. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Are you guys going to go ham on Marauders now that you know you will be able to mitigate to have less attachments? Does that change your point of view on Marauders? It definitely changed mine. What do you guys think? Leave me a comment down below. Lost Kingdom Light and Darkness is starting very soon, and this channel is going to cover it from A to Z. We're going to have everything and anything you need to know. And in the Discord, which is linked in the description down below, you will find a Lost Kingdom channel, which has tons of infographics with every building, what was in it, which types of troops you should use, which types of commanders you should send with rallies, which types of commanders you should send for open field, and how to get every building and all that. We will be updating it with the latest and greatest information from Light and Darkness through the season. You definitely don't want to miss that out. So go join the Discord down below. And of course, subscribe to the channel. I'm Gekko. I'm out of here. Thank you guys very much for watching this video. I'll see you guys sooner rather than later. Thank you for all your continued support. And thank you for everything. See you sooner rather than later and take care. Peace.